I noticed that they would listen. It wasn't like they wouldn't listen to what I'm saying or how I'm feeling, whatever, depending on the situation. But at the same time, I felt like, I don't know, it just didn't seem equal. And I'm gonna tell you why I knew that what I was feeling was right. Right after I stepped down, the day of the what we call derby prom or gala, or whatever they wanted to call it anyway. There was a picture with them taken, and in the caption it was, "I just love these girls." And there was never a picture taken with the four of us, right? And with a caption like that, or anything to that effect, or anything resembling anything of like a thank you for me, ever, ever. It wasn't, and anytime there was anything done, it was more like, hey, thank you, girls. Thank you, girls. But that was never mentioned.
Yeah.
And for me, it kind of sucked. I was just like, wow, so I helped, whatever, but I didn't do enough, I guess, or,
Yeah.
you know.
I think, you know, again, were there any other women of color or skaters of color who were so?
It's called Quad Squad. There was four of us.
Yeah.
There's still Quad Squad, but there's only three of them. And no, not one person of color.
I guess, you know, my question with that too is then.
Did I feel like a token? Yes.
Did you?
I did. I felt like a token. God, people are gonna hate me for this, I feel, but
it's your truth, and that's what I keep coming back to is like, you know, you have to be able to hear other people's experiences. But I mean, even if you didn't feel like a token, you're one person who could represent that diversity. And so if you're saying like there were 7 people of color in the entire league, how will the league bring people in? I mean, are you guys having problems bringing? I mean, it seems like you're able to bring in a lot of white women, even men with your, you know, with the crossover leagues or games and things like that. Are you? What's going on with it? Like, is there a bigger vision to start bringing in other people, or you know, to get more representation?
I don't know. I'm not part of that, you know.
Not part of it anymore.
So.
Yeah, I guess one of my other questions, because, you know, I retired in 2016.
Well, I can say this. We could. It isn't that we couldn't. The issue, I think, is, I mean, think about it. 7 people. So what if there's 120 of us, right? And only 7. So there's 113 white folks, right? 113 Caucasians. Where do you think we're actually going to advertise more? In what areas do you think it's going to be? And that goes back to what happened with Tracy, where they were in Kansas City and they were practicing, and women of color wanted to come in and skate and didn't, and weren't even accepted, and weren't even told that what it is, and weren't brought in. I feel like we don't reach out to those areas. I mean, we've never reached out to those. And mind you, I live in Independence, so there's not like, you know, but if we went down and maybe try to recruit in those areas, we probably could get more people of color. Yeah. Where there's people of color at. You know what I mean?
Why do you think people don't do that? I mean, is it
really? Why do you think they don't do that?
I mean, I know that's a naive question.
Right. People don't do that, in all honesty, is because they don't know what they're going to get when they go down there. They don't. They think they're, you know, for them, that's a scary world for people who've never been around people like me. You don't know what you're going to get. And when you see things on TV, like they're all killers and murderers and blah, 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 of course they're not going to want to go down there. I mean, who would, you know?
Yeah. Well, so, can I ask you, what drew you to roller derby in the first place?
Like you, I was going through something. I think everybody goes through something when they join roller derby, right?
Yep, absolutely.
But it's crazy. I had just left my husband of however many years. And I was working at a salon at that time, and a girlfriend of mine was like, "You should check out roller derby," and I did. And she was like, I can see you doing this, because they were
Yeah.
like bumping into each other, whatever. And I was like, I can see me doing this too. And I went
Yeah.
to a practice. I went to a practice, and I never looked back. Ever since that first practice, I was like, I want to do this. I want to get in on this. I have got to do this. And that was it. That was it for me. It was like a bug, and it stuck. And
Yep. I've been there. Well, did it concern you at all to not see other women who looked like you, or other people who looked like you?
I'm going to tell you why. Because I was married to a Caucasian man with a Caucasian family, and I was around nothing but Caucasian people anyway at that time. So I figured there weren't that many Black folk in St. Joe, but I was living on the north side, and I learned later on that there's a south side where all these Black folks live. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I was like, oh, even Hispanics. There was Hispanics. I didn't see the representation, and that's the reason why I didn't think that. I was like, and I tell you, I lived in Hamilton for a year, and that was the darkest thing out there. Me and my kids, my poor kids.
Yeah.
Because there was 3 Black kids in the school. My kids were 2 of them.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I had been around nothing but Caucasians for years. So I didn't know any better. Like, I didn't know that there were any. So it sounds crazy, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't venture out.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, so in a way you were kind of protected from it. That's interesting. I wonder too, I mean, did you start feeling the racism right away, or the issues?
Absolutely. As soon as I moved to Missouri, I felt like I was in a time warp, and I went back 50 years. I was like, I come from New York City. It's a melting pot. We don't get this kind of crap over there.
Right.
And then I felt it right away, because I was looked at differently and treated differently. And after a while, it was like, oh my God, what did I do to myself? What did I do to my kids? I moved them here. I'm like, and then I kind of felt trapped, because I was no one in my family moved here. And then I finally moved my mom here. And that's when the shift clicked for me. I don't have to do this anymore. I finally have an ally here. I have my mom, And so when things finally hit the fan, and I made a conscious decision not to fight it anymore and just leave, or not go back to the tumultuous relationship that I was in, that's when everything opened up for me. It was like, oh my God, I don't have to be in this. I'm okay. I'm all right. It was scary.
Yeah.
It was scary, to be honest with you. For years, I tried my best, but it was scary.
Yeah.
Honestly, because I was like, I'm in a world by myself.
Yeah. Well, and I guess, as you're talking about all of this too, I mean, what do you feel like people are missing by not embracing you the way that you could be embraced? I mean, if people kind of have this cold shoulder to you, and have these sort of
ridiculous ideas, because I used to hear some crazy stuff. Somebody asked me if we eat monkeys. I was like, what?
For real?
Yeah. Do Puerto Ricans eat monkeys? And I was like, no, I've never had a monkey in my life. Like,
the world.
Where did that come from? Someone had asked me that, and I was like, no, I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, do people even understand? So I think it's interesting too to hear, people when they talk about Latinx people and what they're kind of experiencing. People don't understand the difference between a Mexican person.
Ooh, that's another thing. Yeah. That's a thing here. But you know what? That's a thing in the East Coast too. If you live in the East Coast, you're Puerto Rican or Dominican or Cuban. And you can tell when the different cultures, but mainly that. Here, everybody's Mexican. Everybody. I don't care what part of South America or Latin America or North America or whatever, you are Mexican.
Yeah.
If you're Latina, you're Mexican. If you're Latinx, you're Mexican.
Yeah.
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 And I was like, no, I'm a very proud Puerto Rican. I'm like, I am a very proud Puerto Rican. I am not Mexican. I have nothing against Mexicans, but I'm just not one. And I appreciate it if you recognize that this is who I am. You know what I mean? It's kind of ridiculous. But at the same time, you know, when you live in a bubble, and I noticed this when you've never traveled, you have no outside culture, and all you know is this area here, you don't know any better. And I tried to, for a long time, I made excuses. But in this day and age, and with everything going on and everything on that TV, you can't tell me you don't know any better anymore.
Right.
That's yes now. Now there's no reason for it. It's out there.
Yeah.
There's enough for you to say, let me see what it is that separates us from her or us from him or anything. You know, like if you don't know, try to make I'm still human. I'm still a person. I'm still, you know, I may have different cultural things about me, but I'm still human.
Yeah.
You know, I would expect anyone, if something happened to you, even if I don't know you, I'm going to feel some type of way because you're human. I mean, we are all, you know, for them to say, that's a Black person, they can handle it. Or, you know, she's Hispanic. We need to get rid of some of them anyway, you know, or the stupid shit that I've heard in the past. You know what I mean? It's just like, wow, unbelievable.
What do you wish people knew about you that would maybe be eye-opening for them, for you, that would maybe help them connect better with you?
You know what? That's a good question. Let me think about that real quick. No, shoot. Me personally, I say you're gonna miss out on a lot because you can learn a whole lot from me. I mean, God, I've traveled. It's a whole nother world with me. You have definitely, you get to experience different foods, different cultures, fun, because we love to party. We love to have a good time. Latinos in general just love to be happy and alive and, you know, not bogged down with the outside version of who they, you know, people want us to be. You know what I mean? Like I'm a proud Latina. I'm a proud Latina. Like at the end of the day, I just love and I want to share who I am with people.
Yeah.